Diddly dum dum British Strongman podcast. Hiya, Shane. So we've got Giants Live Brits coming up this weekend. So who are you excited to see perform?
Well, obviously, I'll be coaching Shane Flowers and Felix for it, so I'm excited to see those two put in a performance. But other than those two, I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing Hicksy compete because I had a bit of a catch up with Hicksy last week, and yeah, he's in good nick. He's happy with his training. Told me that he has been a bit lazy into other shows, is the kind of easiest way to put it, and he's trained really hard for this competition, done a little bit more lighter event space work and conditioning and stuff and volume, and he sounds like he's in a bit of a good spot. He's had a bit of a bad run with injuries and stuff, hasn't he? So I'm hoping that it's given him a bit of a, not a kick up the arse, but you know what I mean, like relit the fire a bit and made him train hard, and I'm hoping Ixie puts in a good show as well.
And I suppose like the events coming out obviously can dangle a carrot to some people, can't it? So stuff like for Hicksy, there's a yoke in there, isn't there? I think the like a few years ago, he was like, as far as I thought he was one of the best in the world at the yoke, and then he got that injury at Worlds, didn't he?
Yeah, well, that's something that he said though, is that he wasn't really training yoke how he used to train yoke when he was good at it. So he's gone back to what he was doing when he was at his best with it, and yeah, he said that he's feeling good. So hopefully he strings a good one together.
So that'll be good. There's obviously Dumbbell in there, isn't there? 80 to 120, is it?
Yeah, dumbbell medley in 10 kilo increments, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, I think, yeah.
So Axel deadlift is looking fucking shit at that, isn't he?
Yeah, I think it's 350 for reps, I believe.
Yeah.
So I think he pulled 370 for 5, didn't he?
Yeah.
So that's mad. So he should be looking at close to double figures, I imagine, which would be crazy.
And then is the stone run the 100 to 180?
I believe so. Yeah, I think it's just the standard stone run that they kind of finish with, which he's Hicksy he's just good at all the events, isn't he? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
in my opinion, in my head, he's the favourite. In my head, personally, because I think that the lads are quite close at the top, aren't they? But it obviously depends on the events, and I think that the events are quite suited for Hicks. And I know people are talking about the Stoltmans and that, but I don't know what it is. I know it's the schedule, and I don't know if maybe, but I just noticed that some comps, it's almost like I've just noticed they seem to like just turn up. You know what I mean? And I've seen them placed quite low, and I don't really know the story. I imagine they're probably just cruising through a few comps because of the schedule, the injuries and stuff. But
well, to be fair, I think they did, like, in their defence, I think they did that at the Arnolds, didn't they, where they turned up for the fans, and then I think they pulled out, like, just basically like the gesture of being there supporting the others, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because they're focusing on Brits, I imagine.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was just going to say a couple of people are talking about the Stoltmans saying that they've not been on good form, and I was just going to say that I imagine, I don't know, I imagine they're probably focused on Brits.
Fuck me, not on good form. World's Strongest Man, Europe's. What else did they won?
It only takes. Everyone always remembers your last couple of comps, don't they? And you come 6th or 7th in a few little shows, and suddenly they're like, "Oh, yeah, top 3 all the time," and this and that. And I'm like, "Well, they're probably just fucking. You can't be on peak form all the time. They're probably
That's what I respect so much about those lads is that I remember a few years ago they were doing Worlds, and then like I'm sure it was like the week later they were doing like Scotland's Strongest Man and like competing against some like lower level guys, just getting stuck in and. Just competing, and I think But
what I was trying to say was, I think them two will be on really good form for Brits because I feel as though those other comps just show that they weren't too arsed about them, and they were turning up for the sake of, like you say, the fans and stuff, and probably getting paid. And then they've probably focused the training on Brits. Obviously, I don't know for certain, but I imagine it's going to be a bit of a battle. But I still think that even on top form with them events, I think Hicks is just I don't know. I think he's just on those events. I think he's just hard to beat. To be honest with you, if he's on top form, I think it's just hard to beat. Dumbbell, he's a fucking freak at anything pressing. You know what I mean? He's going to be tough to beat on Dumbbell. It's going to be tough to beat an Axel Dead. I'm looking forward to him and Bish going head-to-head on that, because I think Bish has pipped him quite a few times on deadlift, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But I do think that Hicks, I think he's on probably the best form of his life on deadlift. So be interesting to see. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a fucking good show.
So what should we look out for with Shane and Felix? So Shane Flowers, I've seen a few of his dumbbell videos recently. He's picked that up really well, hasn't he? And been playing around with the jerk as well, hasn't he? Great.
Yeah, well, basically he's like a bit of a sponge, to be honest with you. He's like, you're just someone who's just perfect to coach. Because he hadn't even touched a dumbbell 6-7 weeks ago. You know what I mean?
He messaged me asking me if I got said that you'd said to go and ask me to send him a video of doing the jerk, and then I sent him out a video and then sent him some voice notes to try, and then he just sent me a video. He's like, oh, he is 90, looking like fucking. It's crazy.
Because we worked on his dip and drive, but then he was having that little grindy lockout press.
Yeah.
So I said to him, we need to try and get under the dumbbell to load your legs rather than that tricep at lockout.
Yeah.
That's beneficial for everybody, by the way, but for Shane especially, he's not the biggest presser in the world. He's got quite long arms, so he's not mechanically gifted for it. So it's just it'll be really beneficial to jump under the dumbbell. So I told him to look at Dimitar Savatinov, because when he leans quite far to the opposite side, and then as he drives with his legs, he actually further leans, like a circus lift almost, but it achieves the same thing. He gets under the weight. So I said that's a way that's quite common. And I also said Josh Lanks has really good power jerk. Like I always say, I don't think it matters where your feet kind of go, as long as you move them and get under it. Like it doesn't matter if they're almost slightly different every rep, I think, as long as you're getting underneath the dumbbell. So I said to Shane, practice where your feet go and where feels most natural for you to get under it. And he said he drew some fucking, he said at work, he drew some chalk lines on the floor and was practicing while he was at.
Absolutely brilliant. And this is where we're talking about jerks and stuff. This is where you don't have to be a weightlifter. You don't have to fucking think about watching Olympic weightlifting to benefit from it. If you just think of it as like you're saying, just jumping. So after the drive, instead of you trading that kind of pure upper body single arm strength for just basically looking where your feet start, and you're probably around your squat stance, hip width apart-ish. And if you can, after you finish the drive, if you can almost finish in like Olympic weightlifters would hate this, but almost like in almost like a sumo stance, finishing in a sumo stance, or starfish or whatever. It can be really, really beneficial. Like weightlifters would laugh at you and tell you you're doing it wrong. But if you can, the fact is that most people are scared of doing a split jerk, because they go and try and do a split jerk and they feel like a twat because the balance is all over the place and they fall over, and they're not strong in that kind of position because they haven't visited there before. Whereas most of us have, but especially in strongman, are really strong in that sumo stance, and forget sumo deadlifts. Think about your stone pickups and your sandbag carries and stuff. So basically you're just going from that position where you basically start your squat or deadlift, where you're super strong and stable and good at producing force, and you're jumping out to the position where you know, like imagine trying to lap a 120 bag when it's on its side. You have to take your feet wide. You jump from those two positions, you're already an inch under, like your torso is already an inch lower than what you would be if you're just relying on the drive. So if you're doing that and driving up with a good line, like people listening to this, just go and try it and let us know how you get on with it.
Well, Shane had never
understand
done dumbbell. Shane had never done dumbbell before, and then once he'd got the dip and drive down, he obviously I didn't know he'd messaged you, but he'd obviously messaged you and got some vids and some stuff, and he practiced it for a couple of days at work, and then when he applied it, looked really good straight away, and he was already he did 100 or something kilo dumbbell like that, I believe, and he was like, yeah, it feels class. But then the strange thing was he went to the Darren Sadler's yard to practice the actual dumbbell, and he said that when he was doing the, you know, getting underneath the dumbbell on that specific dumbbell they used, that it felt really off balance and weird, and he was struggling with it. So he ended up saying to me, like, look, I need more time on that dumbbell to apply that technique. And he only has one session. So he said, I think I'm going to push press it in the comp just because it just felt different. I've never used that type of, you know the dumbbell that Hicksy has, that big 105 thing. They're like that. So they must just, he said it just feels a little bit different when it's overhead with the thickness of the handle and stuff. And he was struggling to keep the balance. So, but again, he'd only had one session on it, guys. So if you're practicing it, and obviously where Shane's been thrown in the deep end with strongman because he's done one comp and now he's at fucking Giants Live, and he's got an event to learn that he's never even touched before. So most people aren't going to be in that situation where you can learn this split jerk or power jerk, if you want to call it, style on the dumbbell. You can play with it for weeks and weeks. And then once you've got it dialed, I do believe it should be a fairly easy transition with different dumbbells. You just need to get used to different dumbbells, which is why it's good to rotate your kit. I think we've talked about this on the podcast before, haven't we?
Definitely,
yeah. So not just farmers with handles, but dumbbells, different widths, diameters, different handle lengths and thicknesses and stuff. So yeah.
And I think on overhead, just chipping in with that, like supporting what you're saying, we've gone over it at like before with log and said that like get used to each individual log, and the key is find that rack position. And find your rack positioning. If you can find your rack position on each individual log, then that's going to be the base that you kind of need to be successful with the lift when you rotating implements. So exactly the same principle with the dumbbell. Just make sure spend a little bit of time. If you go and this dumbbell's a bit smaller diameter than usual, or it's one of the different styles or whatever, just spend. Don't rush it. Actually, spend time. Because the temptation can be, oh, fuck me, this feels weird in the rack. So you kind of rush to get out of it while it's light.
Yeah.
And then you just get caught out when you add weight to it. So actually embrace the fact that it feels a little bit more difficult. Make sure you find your line, because you will do, even if it takes a few sets.
And it can be millimeters, can't it, Josh? Like different dumbbells, you might need to face it more towards the front of you, or more out to the side, or it might need to go a little bit further down your trap, or you might need to slightly move your hand a tiny. You know, it's like I call them like micro positions because they're hard to see on video. Like they almost look the same, but as a lifter with your feedback, you can tell. Oh, right, I've got it in the correct line now. So yeah, that's something I used to do with dumbbells that I was bad for, which I didn't really notice I did at the time until looking back. Is like you said, I used to rush. I get in rack and it feels wrong, so I'd be like, just push press it quickly.
Yeah, I can picture it. And that's why you'd always have, like, when you did dumbbell, you'd always have like, well, it's easy, and then you just miss one out of the kind of like, yeah, definitely. Right, cool. Let's move on. Let's who else is doing it? There's Paul Smith's doing it. Paul Smith's looking good, and finally got
right back. Yeah,
looking really hungry for it. And his dumbbell's been going really good. I think he did what did he do?
Did 120 for 2?
120 for 2 the other day.
Yeah, kind of 2. I think he said it was kind of 2.
Yeah, like a half then 1. Like,
Yeah, a good gym lift, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he's looking really good, looking good on the training kegs, moving really well with the kegs, and yeah, it just looks good.
Oh yeah, there's that loading race as well, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah. But hungry for it, you know, when you see someone who's hungry for it and what wants really.
Yeah, it's about time that he got back there, isn't it? To be honest. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be good, exciting. So tell us a bit about your YouTube that you've started posting up consistently. So what's your schedule with it? You put up some brilliant videos. What are you doing? Are you doing 3 a week, is it, or 2 a week, or what?
Yeah, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing like 5 every 2 weeks.
Right.
So we're going to be doing. I haven't started yet, but we're going to do, because I think this second one's like a newer idea, which I think basically we've got like a bit of a goal. I want to get 30k Insta followers and 3,000 YouTube subs for the end of the year. So we're kind of like trying to push everything out there regularly. So I think a way to get more people to click the vids, so I'm going to do like a strength coach react series where I just react to fucking bullshit basically. Like different, not just strongman, but like MMA, strength and conditioning, just like, you know, general things, that gym training, you know what I mean? So I'm going to do like a strength coach reacts every Thursday. I'm going to do a strongman educational video every Tuesday. And then every 2 weeks, me and Shannon are going to go to a comp to record a kind of somewhat local. We'll travel a bit, but we don't want to go, you know, 6 hours down south or something.
Unless somebody's going to reach out and cover your travel and give you some expenses for the coverage and stuff. So give us a shout out. We're always welcome stuff like that, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're going to be using the strength register because I've been using that recently. I think it's fucking class.
Absolutely brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, so we're going to be basically finding a competition on the strength register that kind of tickles our fancy, that we like the event, and I'm going to look at the people involved in it and see if I want to. Because basically, what I want to build over the next year is a channel dedicated to strongman, the sport of strongman, because I know Big Loz and people do it already, but they just cover like the Giants live shows and they just cover the bigger kind of events and stuff. I want to get to the local national novice comps and give people a platform. Obviously, I've got 1,000 subscribers, but it's not fucking big at all. But, you know, if in Dreamland it got big, I want to be able to go to like a novice comp. Like our first one we're going to is Chaos on the weekend, so we're going to be filming the Static Monsters. I thought it was an easy first one to start with because it's only 2 events, and you know we're not the best editors and film people yet, so it's just a kind of nice one to start with. And then I just want to be able to give it a bit of a platform for the novice guys and even like the under 90s and stuff to go and just like promote the sport basically, because I realize there's nowhere to go. Like sometimes I go on YouTube and I'll just watch other hobbies randomly. Like I'm quite into cars and stuff, and sometimes I'll go on these car YouTube channels and I'll watch them go to like the the race days and stuff and the track days, and I'll just watch them film the track day and meet everyone and interview some people with nice cars and that. I really enjoy it, and you can't really do that in strongman. Like you can't just go on someone's YouTube channel and go watch a load of novice strongman comps and meet the athletes and you know what I mean. So that's kind of the goal.
I think it's absolutely brilliant, mate, because like you say about like Loz's channel is really popular and stuff, and like covering like the Giants live stuff, and that's why I don't even like talking so much about the Giants live stuff and the big comps, and because I know a lot more about, like, say, the weight classes and the grassroots level and stuff like that. So like in a similar way to I could actually tell at the some really good feedback from the Arnolds actually. Like I could really tell that the Giants crew there were like they were brilliant, and they were so like they looked after everyone so well, and you could tell that they were like invested in it. I wasn't sure that they were going to be. It was going to feel like that.
Yeah.
I think they seemed like really impressed at like say how many people were actually the crowd that it drew and stuff like that. But I think there's a bit of a gap between people actually don't know much about, like the guys that say Giants Live don't necessarily know much about under 90, under like what's
Yeah.
happening at novice level and inters and stuff like that. It's like kind of separate. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way, because they're focusing on doing so well with that stuff. But I just feel like there's like a big gap for something like this. Like actually,
well, that's
you know, like you going to cover these comps. I think it's absolutely brilliant, mate.
Also, I thought my main goal with it is it gets people that aren't into the sport but have potentially seen it and don't know how to get involved.
Yeah,
I'm gonna plug the strength register. You know what I mean? I know it's my own ebook, but I'm gonna plug my free ebook. You know what I mean? You want to get into the sport, get this free ebook. If you want a comp, go on the strength register. This is what it's going to be like when you go to a strongman gym. Interview the owner of the gym, show them around, just so that people can like watch it and be like, oh, this looks all right. And then they can see all the different gyms, because obviously all these comps are at gyms. So, you know, it's a bit of promotion for the gyms that are doing strongman as well. And it's a bit of promotion for the strength register, for the comps. And
I'm sure you'd be able to host like say a video of like each gym that you cover or each event, and I'm sure you'd be able to like work out a way. I'm sure Kian would help you at the strength register about like maybe attaching it somehow or hosting it on that website, you know. So if you got something from like say Static Monsters at the weekend or whatever, and the Chaos Gym, something that's going to be beneficial for Static Monsters, something that's going to be beneficial for strength registers, something that's going to be beneficial for Chaos. You get this is what the comps kind of feel like at Chaos, and then Chaos have got like however many comps over the course of the year, 8 to 12 comps. Just absolutely brilliant.
Well, the thing is, these are just going to be.
It's just win-win-win, isn't it, for everyone?
Yeah, well, that was the idea, and I was kind of going to leave that up to whoever wants to do whatever, because obviously it's going to be a YouTube video there for free. If Luke wants to paste the link onto his site and use it as an advert, fucking, that's kind of the idea, you know what I mean? And same with the statics. If they want to use it as like a bit of an advert or whatever, they can do. And the goal is really, we've set a schedule, we've set our diaries and stuff, and we're just going to go once every 2 weeks to film a comp. Probably take us a week to edit it, and we're just going to call it Strongman Sundays. So basically the Sunday after the comp, we'll release it. So basically every 2 weeks on a Sunday, there should be a novice level comp, and we check the strength register. We can pretty much do one consistently every 2 weeks, just due to the amount of comps that there are nowadays. Obviously a couple of years ago, it would have been hard to do this because there's not that many about. But nowadays there's so many novice inters comps and whatnot. And what I thought might be cool as well is, I thought if it does take off, if people do enjoy it, if it goes well, it's like it could be good for the host of a comp as well. Like if they were like, oh, MST Systems is filming this comp. Yeah. So if you want to get on his YouTube, you know, come to this comp.
That was it. I looked at the under 80s comp that we did, the under 80 Brits, and what you covered it on your Instagram story, didn't you? Like, yeah. And it was just dead easy for you to do, just like no preparation kind of thing, off the cuff. And then I screen recorded your story and then just cut it, shit quality, uploaded it to YouTube. And that got loads of views, and like sent people, oh, go and watch the highlight to that.
Well, that was actually the reason where I came up with that, because I just decided on the day to do that last fucking minute. And then the amount of, like, my story got like 6 times more views than what it usually gets. Yeah. Usually when your stories are long, it's like your views go down the more stories you got. Yeah. But they were actually like going up in certain areas. So it was like people, like when Flash did his dumbbell, for example, the stories were going down, and I don't know why I got an insulin pin in my hand. It was just on the side. Oh god. Yeah, the stories were going down, and Flash's dumbbell, it like shot up, so people were sharing it obviously and stuff. And it was that gave me the idea to do this, but it took a bit of, you know, it's not a simple thing to be like, oh, I'm going to go film comps. Yeah. We have to get a bit of preparation and that. And Shannon's got a little better at video editing now, so she feels comfortable to wing it a little bit on Saturday. And also I've managed to sort my diary so that I've got a bit more spare time to do this kind of stuff. So hopefully we can keep it up. We've been pretty consistent so far. So yeah.
Brilliant. Right, we'll call it a day there. I'll see you next week, Shane.
See you, mate. Take care.